My wife said, "I love you more than ever," yet she booked a flight to Paris with him. I can't even begin to describe the sick feeling that washed over me when I saw the email. I had just gotten home from a long day at work, tired but eager to unwind with my wife, Sarah. Instead, what I walked into was a slap in the face. There it was, an email notification flashing on my phone as I was setting down my bag. Flight confirmation. Paris, France. I almost ignored it at first, thinking it was just another spam email or a random deal we'd gotten from some airline. But then the name of the person she was flying with. David. David, the same guy she'd been working on projects with for months, the guy who always seemed to show up when I wasn't around, the one she always said was just a friend. He wasn't just a friend. I knew that. She knew it too, even if she never said it aloud. I stood there for a moment, staring at the email as if I could somehow make it disappear with just a thought. But it wouldn't go away. I opened it, reading through the details. The flight was booked for next month, a round-trip ticket to Paris. It wasn't some casual weekend getaway. No, this was an entire week. A whole week in one of the most romantic cities in the world. Together, just the two of them. My stomach dropped, and the room suddenly felt colder. I had to sit down. I wanted to yell, to throw my phone against the wall, but instead I just kept staring at the screen like I could find some explanation for this. I didn't know how long I sat there before I heard Sarah's footsteps in the hallway. She walked into the living room, her face lighting up when she saw me, but the smile faltered when she saw the look on mine. "Hey, what's up?" she asked, sounding casual, almost too casual. I couldn't even look at her. My hand was shaking as I set the phone down, the screen still open on the confirmation email. "You going to Paris?" I finally managed to ask, my voice low, hoarse. Her face instantly changed, her smile fading, her eyes darting to the floor. She knew. I could see it in her face. "It's not what you think," she started, her voice shaky, but I could already tell the words were coming out in a way that meant she was about to lie to me. I stood up, feeling a surge of anger and frustration mix in my chest. "Not what I think." "Really, Sarah? How do you expect me to feel when I see this?" I pointed at the phone, my heart pounding in my chest. She hesitated, then sighed, running a hand through her hair. It's just a work thing, okay? A collaboration, something that's been in the works for a while. It's important to me, and David, he's the one I'm working with on this. I told you about it before." She sounded defensive now, almost like she was trying to convince herself as much as she was trying to convince me. I could feel the weight of the words she had just said, and my head was spinning. "I know you've mentioned him, Sarah, but this? Paris? A whole week? And you're telling me this is just work?" The sarcasm in my voice was palpable, but I couldn't stop myself. The idea of her flying across the world with him, staying in hotels, sharing meals, exploring the city, was eating away at me. She took a deep breath and stepped closer, her voice quieter now. "Chris, I love you. More than ever. You know that, right? This trip isn't about us. I swear it's not. It's just something I need to do for my career." I shook my head, not trusting myself to speak for a moment. "You're telling me that, right now, you're willing to go to Paris with him, alone, after everything we've been through, after everything we've worked for, and you expect me to believe that? You expect me to just trust you?" Sarah's face crumpled, and she reached out to touch my arm, but I pulled away instinctively. The hurt in her eyes, the way she was pleading with me, almost made me want to feel sorry for her. Almost. But the confusion and betrayal I felt were so much stronger. "Chris, I don't want to hurt you," she said, her voice trembling. "I really don't. But you have to understand. I need this. I need to do this for me. And I need you to trust me." I couldn't breathe. My chest felt like it was caving in as the weight of her words crushed me. I wanted to tell her that I trusted her. I really did. But I also knew that trust had been eroding for months now. First, it was the late nights at the office. Then it was the weekends when she seemed too busy to spend time with me. And now, Paris. With him. "Trust you," I repeated, my voice rising despite myself. "How can I trust you when you're taking this trip with him? How can I believe that this isn't something more than work, Sarah? You told me about him before, but this feels different. Tears welled up in her eyes as she took another step toward me, but I couldn't move. I couldn't bring myself to hold her, to comfort her when I felt so alone. I swear, Chris, it's not like that. I love you. Please don't think I'm doing this to hurt you. I shook my head, stepping back again. Then why keep a secret? Why not tell me sooner? Why not share these plans with me before you bought the ticket? She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She was quiet for a long moment, her eyes not meeting mine. And then she spoke again, her voice soft, almost pleading. I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid of how you'd react. And maybe I was wrong not to talk to you sooner, but I swear, this isn't about him. This is about me. I couldn't hold back the bitterness in my voice. It feels like it's about him more than anything else, Sarah. She bit her lip, and I saw her hands shake as she folded them in front of her. I don't know what else to say, she said quietly. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I stood there, feeling like everything was falling apart, and the room seemed to close in on me. I had loved this woman for so long. I had trusted her, believed in her. And now, I felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. What was there to say? How could I trust her? How could I even begin to understand this situation? I wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand answers, but all I could do was stand there, staring at the woman I loved, whose back was already halfway turned toward me, ready to leave on this trip with him. I felt the space between us grow larger than it had ever been before, and for the first time, I truly didn't know if we could come back from this. Part 2. The next few days were a blur. I don't know how I managed to get through work or the countless empty conversations Sarah and I had at home. Every time I tried to talk to her about the trip, about David, she shut down or redirected. It's just for work, she'd say, eyes darting away. You know I'd never do anything to hurt you. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She said she loved me, that this wasn't about David, that everything was fine. But everything about her actions screamed otherwise. She was leaving with him to one of the most romantic cities in the world. Paris. How could I look at her the same way after that? How could I just believe her words when all I saw were her actions telling me something completely different? I was pacing around our apartment late one night, my mind unable to quiet itself, when I heard the soft click of Sarah's footsteps approaching. She'd been distant for the past few days, but she always came back to me in the end. At least, that's what I told myself. I'm sorry, she said, standing in the doorway of the living room. Her voice was quieter now, almost defeated, but there was still something in her eyes that I didn't recognize. Something guarded. I don't want this to come between us. I don't know what to believe anymore, Sarah, I said, cutting her off before she could say anything more. How can I trust you when you're doing this? When you're going to Paris with him? Her face faltered, and she closed her eyes for a moment, like the weight of my words hit her harder than she expected. I didn't think you'd react like this, she whispered, almost to herself. I thought you'd understand. Understand. I couldn't hold it in anymore. My voice cracked with frustration and hurt. How could I possibly understand? You're going on a trip with him, a trip you didn't even tell me about. You want me to just pretend everything is normal while you're holding his hand, while you're sharing your bed with him on that plane to Paris? She winced as if my words physically stung her, but she didn't flinch away. She stayed there, standing in front of me, arms folded across her chest, eyes downcast. It's not like that, Chris. It's just a project, just a trip for work. I swear to you, he's just a colleague. I've told you that. You've told me that 1,000,000 times. But this is different. And I can't ignore it anymore, Sarah. I'm not some fool who's going to stand by and watch you throw everything we've built away. I can't. She stayed quiet for a moment, biting her lip as she looked up at me. Her eyes were full of something, guilt, maybe, but also something else. Maybe confusion or doubt. I couldn't tell, but it was clear she was struggling, torn between me and him, between us and something else entirely. Chris, she said quietly, you've been distant too. You've been so focused on work and everything else. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know what's left between us anymore. Her words were like a punch to the gut. The air felt thick, suffocating. All I wanted was for her to see how much I cared, how much I was still fighting for us, but everything about this situation felt like it was slipping out of my control. You know how much I care about you. I've always made time for you. Always, I replied, my voice shaking with frustration. I made this work. I was always here, Sarah, but now I feel like I don't even know who you are anymore. She closed her eyes again, biting her lip as if trying to hold back tears. I don't want to hurt you, Chris. I never wanted to hurt you. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I felt a mix of anger and confusion flood through me. Then why are you doing this, Sarah? You say you love me, but everything else is telling me you don't. I can't keep pretending that everything's okay when you're planning a future with someone else, when you're planning to leave with him. She looked away from me, like she couldn't bear to meet my eyes anymore. I don't want to hurt you, she whispered again, this time almost pleading. I don't want to, but I don't know how to fix this. I need space. I need to go. I need to think about me. My heart clenched at her words, the finality in them making my stomach drop. You're leaving. You're leaving with him. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't try to wipe them away. I don't know what else to do, Chris. I've been so confused. I thought I knew what I wanted, but now I'm not so sure. I think I need to be with David to figure it out. I can't keep pretending that nothing's wrong. I have to do this for myself. The tears in her eyes were real, but they didn't make me feel any better. They didn't make her leaving any easier to bear. I felt the final straw break, the moment when everything changed. She wasn't just going to Paris. She was going to him, and I didn't know how to make sense of it anymore. I stood there, frozen, not knowing what to say next. I wanted to tell her to stay, to promise that I'd fix whatever was wrong, that we could still work through this. But the look in her eyes, the distance, told me everything. She had already made up her mind. She was already gone, even before the plane took off. I guess this is it then, I whispered. I didn't want it to be true. I didn't want it to end like this, but I couldn't keep fighting for something when it was so clear she wasn't. Sarah turned away without another word, heading for the door. And as she walked out, I felt a heavy, crushing weight descend on me. The air felt thick, suffocating, and I didn't know how I was supposed to keep breathing. She was already gone, even before the plane took off. And somehow, I was left here, standing alone.